But to be perfectly honest, agriculture, I- don't you feel like we've left it on autopilot in this country? We've kind of left agriculture to take care of itself. We've decided that we are a cocoa growing nation, and that's about it, And so everything else just happens as and when the weather allows. There's no intention or deliberation in the cultivation of particular crops for particular markets, taking advantage of our particular unique, situation where we are in this country, what kind of soil we have. None of that thinking seems to be evident in our agricultural outputs.
Okay, yes, and I get the output part. But when it comes to the thinking, and I agree with you that the colonial structure was to ensure that we produce those industrial crops, oil palm, cocoa, for export. We seem still fixated on these products. But because for a very long time, cocoa has helped us through the difficulties and all of that. So we sometimes even select and identify and take cocoa out of the agric ministry and take it to the finance ministry times. So remember, some time ago, cocoa board said, oh, yeah, we are under the finance ministry. So we are special. We are treated differently. Even in our budget outline, sometimes we do agric generally. Then we come to cocoa sector, separate it and give it the relevance. But we have tried to do policies. And mostly I like referencing them because we went into a process of doing what we call the Fast Step 1 Food and Agri Sector Development Programs. And this is when we came into the 90s and decided to grow into that. Then we went into Fast Step 2. Then we said we needed an implementation plan. So we said MetaSIP was our implementation plan. Then more recently, the more interesting, the more bombastic words like planting for food and jobs have all come to go. Now we are doing planting for food and jobs part 2. We have not had.
Let's not forget rearing for food and jobs.
Yes, and no,
aquaculture for
it's
food
yes,
and jobs.
yeah, related
Yes.
brothers.
Uh-huh.
Now, it's not been for lack of policy. The difficulty is that mostly the difference between what we conceive as the policy and what ends up being delivered, there is a huge vacuum. You can give a room for some deviation. So what we have lacked is prudent, consistent people who drive that sector with the intention to deliver the goals that we want. But me, I am not one of those who believes in export first, feed your people maybe in the future and let the people feed themselves. I believe first and foremost, agriculture policy should reflect in food sufficiency and food security for our people, which would invariably reflect in your inflationary figures and all of that. So when there's this discord there, every other thing you build on that sounds very utopian to me. We have not fixed the basis in that area. And the other time, Professor Irene Susanna Ejiri made the same point. In fact, she went through, she basically took down every single government policy and pointed out the major defects in all of them and why we are still doing the same things in the name of making progress now. I just hope that as we have these conversations, industry will put together a document and say this is the manifesto of the sector. In fact, that theory of having manifestos had always come from the theory that, for example, workers know what they want. So when you engage us, you're not engaging us because you're going to just tell us what you want. This is what we believe will promote and develop the sector. I'm looking forward to those things. The documents will be shared so that parties will now look at it. So let's rewind it this way. Because we are tilted towards the left, we are more likely to promote these ones than the other. So I will now sit back and choose which policies would influence the decision I make on the day that I'm supposed to go and vote. I just hope that that is where all these conversations will head towards. And not just, well, I mean, a couple of things being said here and there, and we come back to your original status without any difficulty of about going to the future. Then 5 years later, we will come back. Like the way we started the conversation about replacing import substitution industrialization. Every time we have higher inflation, we repeat that conversation.
You know what the problem is? The problem is that consistently we're focused more on numbers. And not just any numbers, number of persons whom we give funds to when it comes to the major policies or programs within the agricultural sector. And so instead of saying that, look, we want to be food sufficient. And so in becoming food sufficient, we have to develop these hectares of land. And in developing these hectares of land, this is what it's going to cost us. And so government is going to take this part of it, get people who have funds, because at the end of the day, all you're seeking is to get people who can then deliver. Unfortunately, and you've even seen it in Planting for Food and Jobs too, we are still focused on giving inputs to a lot of people so we can come back to the numbers. Count the numbers and say,
we are giving support to 15,000 farmers.
You see, but that's not what you do. What we hardly do in this country is to say that we have increased production by this margin and thus have reduced our dependency by so margin. Okay? Even when we talk about, we have exported maize, and that's all. You don't talk about how you've been able to deal and what margins that we're talking about. This is the problem. Look, you don't need 15,000 farmers to feed Ghana. You can actually get, 100 farmers with funding provided by the state who can cultivate thousands of hectares and thus be in a position to feed the country. Unfortunately, and I have said that I've seen the Economic Enclave project, which is good, but that's what we should be doing in other parts of the country. It must not end. Even that one, we must look at helping people who already are within the sector, who have funding, who have the resources, who have the know-how. Because look, Raymond, if you were into, say, rice production over the past 10 years, and I gave you funds, more funds to engage in rice production, you're better off succeeding than I, Winston Amwa, who's just getting into rice production. Because you have the experience.
Learned the lessons.
You've learned the lessons. But our problem is that consistently, we want to start with number of farmers, 5,000 farmers, 10,000 farmers. Then we'll expand it. We have created this number of jobs as a result, sometimes imaginary jobs. The point is that if it's mechanization you want to engage in, identify people, help them feed the nation. I do not in God's name understand how we have consistently been talking about, we import onions from as far as Niger. So when there's a conflict in Niger, then we say because of the conflict in Niger, the price of onion has gone up. Then we say, Burkina Faso, because of they are shutting down their borders. And so the price of tomatoes has gone up. And today, even if you're going to buy tomatoes, people tell you that I like the Burkina tomatoes, the Navrungo one, that one is sweeter, not the other one. What do? The only thing you have to do is to genetically engineer. If that is the tomatoes that you want, plant it. It's as simple as that. In today's world, we have seen departments of agriculture at the, various universities of Ghana, engaging in different varieties of, crops. Why can't we do same?
CSIR
is
created a strain of cowpea resistant to disease, suitable for the north. And already, those who make personal gains from agriculture are fighting it, creating all kinds of myths around it just so that it won't take.
If we are committed to changing things in this country, we will change things and the country will work. If we are committed. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we are. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, let's see if we can very quickly touch on these headlines and then go online.
The Daily Graphic is reporting this morning that the National Health Insurance Authority has launched the free annual health checkup initiative. So on your birthday, Winston, you'll get a text message which will invite you to a health post or health unit to go and get your checkup done. So we identify any difficulties that you may be encountering that you may not know early enough so that hopefully we can treat it early enough. Now, there's another one about President launching road improvement program. That happened yesterday. And the initiative...
That's a drip, eh?
Yes, yeah. The initiative is supposed to provide some 2,240 road construction equipment and create 10,000 jobs across the country. And that means your district will fix the roads in your district. Every district across the country. One district, one tractor fixing system. Or something beyond that, right? So you would join me in saying this is a laudable venture.
You see, it's good. It's good that we have done this, but I've seen it before. You know, the bulldozer and those things that which plant pool supplied in the between 2012 thereabouts. You remember that project?
Yes, please.
So that's something that we've done before. It's good we're doing these things. It's good we're helping the assemblies. But my point is that it's come late in the day, one. Two, we must also ensure that it's not just for political gain. Okay? This is August 2024. We give these things, and all of a sudden we're talking about the number of jobs it's creating. I saw my road being graded in 2020 November, that they were going to construct the road. They have come back again this time around. So when I see these things, I ask myself, are we really serious? This time around, I want to give the benefit of the doubt because they are continuing and it looks like they will finish. But going forward, the construction and maintenance of roads should be a regular thing. You don't stay away.
Now that we are bringing back the road tolls.
I still do not think that if we're bringing back the road tolls, we must take off the e-levy.
Because it was either or at the time.
Yes. You told us. And to be very honest with you, I don't see how you want to bring back a road toll that generates between 82 and less than 100 million.
And it sounds like deception, really.
Yes. I mean, less than that. So as for the road tolls, if you want to bring back the road tolls, scrap e-levy. After all, we pay so much money because of e-levy.
We need to raise more funds.
We need to raise more
pay
funds.
our debt.
We need to raise more funds. It's such a small problem. If you want to raise more funds, reduce the wastage in this country, which we know. Why? You don't need to go to space to appreciate the fact that there's a problem when it comes to blocking the leakages in this country. I have told you how I continue to make reference to that 2015 letter, 36 billion at our points of entry. Kwete Nate has brought another one. You saw
Porous borders. Yeah.
Porous borders. Instead of taking funds for the states, they're actually taking funds and pocketing it.
But the good news is that in the Auditor General's report, we have reduced the irregularities from what to be 17 billion at a time to now 8 billion. And that's almost like half in this case. And we have also done a lot of work in making sure that these ones are highly recoverable, as more than 90%.
You see, Raymond,
we are making progress.
The thing about irregularities,
yes.
If you don't go through gift miss, it's an irregularity.
That's true.
It may not necessarily mean that the money is lost.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'm talking about the monies that we've lost.
Now, maybe the very last one. Are you registered voter in the Republic of Ghana? Yeah, you are. I see. Is it in Cape Coast North or Cape Coast South?
Cape Coast. Where's Abra?
The
North. Why are you asking me? It's North.
The Safohin is attempting. Yes, Winston is also a registered voter. Actually.
Oh yes, I am.
For some of us that were denied the privilege, we still have a small window, a couple of days from now till Saturday, today till Saturday, to be able to register. So try and get registered, okay? Dr. Silbo Kwaku has promised me that this time I'll register me.
Oh,
yeah.
So finally you can vote.
Okay,
Yes.
Quick one with a daily guide. Nana launches Drip for Better Road Network. Northerners embrace Bamia's vision of possibilities. Fiako to use A+ for $5 million Ghana cedis. An affirmative action bill passage, a critical move in gender equality, says Minister Dakwa Newman.